Okay, welcome back to the Horse Corner for the last YouTube video of 2024, I think. So this is my annual top 10 of the year video, and I'm doing it pretty similar to the way I've done it in years past, which is that I'm going to do my top 10 traditionals and top 10 minis because I collect both and I love them both, and it's just two apples and oranges to try to pick 10 of the scales combined. And it's more fun. We can talk about more horses that way. Makes for a better video. The one thing I'm not going to do this year that I did last year was I did like a top 10 hobby moments, real memories, whatever, last year. And 2024 me likes the spirit behind that idea, but I'm more just going to talk about my hobby year as a whole at the end, as more of a conversation rather than an itemized list, because that felt too picky-choosy. It's hard to pick like 10 moments because I'm like, well, this really great thing happened over the course of like a weekend or a whole week, or like this trip was really great, and just picking like little things is just too difficult. But yeah, that's where we're at. I had an awesome collecting year this year. I was able to put a lot of time and effort into the hobby. Showing, adding new horses, spending time with friends, working on my business, all of the things. So let's talk about the horses first and then the moments at the end. And as I'm filming this, it's actually Christmas Eve. So it's especially festive, as you'll notice. So happy holidays, Merry Christmas to all who celebrate. It's weird to be filming a video on Christmas Eve, but just the way that all of our scheduling worked out. I actually had a couple free hours tonight, so I was like, well, might as well. So here we are. Okay, so I'm gonna do the minis first. I'm gonna go in descending order, so like 10th through 1st, 1st being like the most exciting thing, and 10th being the least exciting thing. So let's go. So 10th is Little Ned. Ned was the stablemate, event stablemate from the Spokes and Spurs event in May of 2024. I love collecting the realistic event stablemates, especially on molds that I collect. I do collect the mini Clydesdale Stallion. I don't collect the traditional one, but I do collect the stablemate. I think he translated really well into stablemate scale. And they've done some really fun colors on him so far. And I like Ned. And he is very collectible, which is nice. Again, we don't get as many limited run stablemates, so I like to collect them where I can. As far as event stablemates go, this guy's probably my least favorite that I own, simply because he's kind of just a black horse. He's got like cute crisp socks and his little baubles are painted nice. And he has eye whites at least, but a lot of the event models, they make these really cool colors, and he's like just kind of a black horse. And I know that he's a portrait model, which does make him unique in that right, but like maybe they could have shaded him a little bit, or like given him some dapples, or both, for an event model. So for that reason, he is in 10th place, or 10th position rather. I still like him. I'm still glad that I have him. He's fun. He shows well. He's very cute, but he is just kind of a black horse. So there's Little Ned. I do still love him. And I knew that that's exactly what it was going to be going into purchasing him, so I got exactly what I thought I was getting, and he's cute. So there he is. 9th is the Silver Bay Iris. This girl was a Stablemates Club Gambler's Choice from a while ago. And I have her Blue Roan Pinto sister, who is one of my favorite minis in my collection. She's so cute. That color is adorable. And I like the Silver Bay. It's not my favorite. The Blue Roan Pinto is my favorite. And nothing was gonna top that. But she's really cute. This model, kind of in contrast, is super well shaded. And I appreciate the fact that only the mane and tail are pearly, not the entire horse. With the Cremello version of this, the entire horse is super, super, super pearly, and only her mane and tail are super pearly, and her body is really nicely shaded. And I also got her from a friend, so that makes her special. I got her from my friend Taylor, and she is very cute. I like her a lot. 8th is Anya. She's new, so I think it's Anya. This is the Premier Club stablemate, and she's very small, so apologies. But this is the Premier Club stablemate from this year. She is a Maggie Bennett sculpt, ? And she's super cute. I love her. I love that we have an adult laying down stablemate. And this color is so pretty. I love Blue Roan. And she's even got some like red in some parts of her face, which I think is actually super realistic. A lot of Blue Roans will have that in their face, so that's a cool touch. Her blanket is super well masked off, and she has tri-colored eyes, which is really, really cool. I love that detail. She is round. Girly, looks like she's about to have a baby, but she's super cute. I love her. Okay, and then believe it or not, 7 is also a 2024 release. This is Newport, and I was so excited when I saw the previews of Newport. She is the G3 Galloping Thoroughbred customized. OF factory customized, I guess, which Breyer doesn't do all the time, or to this degree at this scale, really ever. I think maybe the only customizations that we've seen on Stablemates so far are mane and tail ? That might not be true. That's all I can think of, though. This is not only a mane and tail customization, but they customize the shoulders and the neck and head area. So she is pushing more through her hind end into a lower headset. Her head is more on the vertical. She's supposed to be a polo pony or a polo thoroughbred, which is so cool and more accurate to see them pushing like this versus the super, super stretched out, galloping thoroughbred going down the track. And I love that detail. And she is also just a really nice mini. She has really, really, really good shading. She has in-scale dapples. I love I believe it's Aggie or Argy polo braid that they've done, and they did bandit with the Breyer colors, which is so cute. And all of her white markings are like perfectly crisp. So she's just really, really cool. I like her a lot. I feel like she was drastically underhyped. Okay, 6th is this Bay Roan, who was a complete impulse purchase. I purchased her off a Facebook ad that just popped up in my feed. I was not looking for one. I did not expect to buy one. But she was the World of Stablemates puzzle model. And when I saw her ad, I was so drawn to this model because of her shading. She has such good shading, and I'm a sucker for a good Bay Roan. I love a Bay Roan, and I do like this mold, and this color on it was just so good. I have another Bay Roan on this mold. I think it was just a regular run, like a assortment regular run in an individual bubble pack. Or maybe it was a mare full set, I don't remember. But there is another Bay Roan that I own that was done on this mold that is so far beneath this one in terms of quality and color, and it's newer, I believe. I'll fact check that. But it's newer. I was just, I don't know. I saw her and I was like, I think that I have to have that. She's so good, especially for her age. Her one white sock is completely crisp. She does have eye whites. And her shading, even though you probably can't see it because I'm so far away with these tiny little things, is so good. It's so good. I'll put a picture in so you can see how good it is. It's so good. So there she is. That was just a fun impulse purchase. Some of the best purchases are completely impulsive, and I will die on that hill. So she's one of them. She was sixth. I think I said she was seventh. She was sixth. Which is, considering what our top 5 are, that's a pretty good seat to be in. Okay, my top 5 were super obvious to me. I knew immediately who my top 5 were going to be. This set, the second 5, was harder to figure out because there were a few other ones that I kind of felt could have maybe gone in here, and if you ask me in a week, maybe this would be a different set of 5 stablemates, but my top 5 were abundantly clear, so I love all these guys. Let's get into it. Okay, I tried. This is number 5. This is the glossy West Coast Jamboree Wee Trios Shetland Pony set in gloss. Say that 5 times fast. They were a run of only 600, which is a really unique number for a stablemate run count, even of a more limited quantity. And they were from 2004, so they are 20 years old, and it is insane the quality of these little ponies for them being 20 years old. They're so good. I bought this set and the mat set, spoiler, from the Bonnie Ellis estate auction, which has been very bad for my self-control, but also very good for my collection, and also neat to learn so much about an individual that had such an extensive collection, even if it's somebody that I wasn't aware of until the auction started. And I definitely cherish all the pieces that I've been able to add because of the auction, these guys being one of the coolest for sure. So this is the glossy set. So there are 3. There is this Appy, there is this kind of golden Palomino, and there is this black Tobiano. And they are portrait models. I remember in, I think it was 2023, they, family members of the folks that owned the actual Shetland ponies that these models were based on, one of the children of that family was competing in the Youth Novice show, and they interviewed her on the Breyerfest live stream. So that was really cool. They had like t-shirts that had these models on it and like had the names of all the real ponies on it, and it was so cool. So I know that they are portrait models of real life, either Shetland ponies or miniature horses, I'm not sure which. But the glossy set of those guys is my number 5. They're the first in this lineup that was actually something that I was looking for the right price. I kind of held off on buying them for a while because I didn't really see them at a price that I was willing to pay, and I had almost written off getting them entirely just because I wasn't willing to pay an exorbitant price for them. But when they came up in the auction, they were for the right price for what I was willing to spend, and even cooler that they came from such a cool place. So number 4 is Little Puget. Puget was the only realistic event stablemate that I was missing from my collection. I got him after I got Ned. So he truly was the only one that I was missing because I had already acquired Ned. And I was able to get him. For some reason, he was very difficult to hunt down for me. I know that he's not the most difficult to find or most highly sought after event model, but he was really hard for me to find, and it might have just been my timing. I kind of was on a timeline to get one in my hands. I had always wanted him. It's a mold that I collect, and I collect the event minis, the realistic ones, and I wanted to use him in my collector's class, my stablemate collector's class entry at the Breyerfest Open Show. So I kind of had a timeline to get one in. So I had to really hunt one down, and I was able to get one probably a month out from Breyer Fest, so he was a good find. And I'm happy to have him. He's very cute. I like his color a lot, and I love that his mane and tail are white. I think that that's a super cute touch, and yeah, he's a cutie. Number 3, more ponies. Number 3 is the matte set of the West Coast Jamboree Wee Trios pony set. So just like their glossy counterparts, there was the black Tobiano, the metallic Palomino, and my personal favorite out of all 6 of these ponies, the matte Appaloosa. The matte set compared to the glossy set was only a run of 200. So as limited as our 2 event stablemates, Ned and Puget, also a run of 200, and I love them. I don't know what it is about the set in gloss, which I love, but I like these guys in matte so much better. It's such a crisp matte finish, and I especially love this one. This one is my favorite. He has shown spectacularly for me. He was my favorite well before then, but he has also been a good little show pony. Yeah, I really like them. They're so special. The coolest thing too about the matte set was, again, these guys are 20 years old. They both came in the same lot from the Bonnie Ellis estate auction, and the matte set was still in their packaging, sealed in their packaging, and they're 20 years old. It was so cool. I was so thrilled to unbox them, and I'm so thrilled to have them. I kept the packaging, and I include it when I show this guy, when I show all of them, but I've shown him the most. And yeah, they're very special, and I like them very much. Top 2. I love these horses. I love minis. They're so much fun. Okay, it was a very good year for my collection. This is Mini Sir Gladwin's Lucky Grey Lady, who was part of a Breyerfest commemorative set. I've wanted her for a very long time. This was probably my top mini Grail acquisition this year. I have wanted one of these for a very long time. They're very hard to find. They don't go for sale very often. And when they do, they are not cheap. I knew a few that had sold for over $500 within the last year, and I just didn't know if I was willing. I just didn't know if I was willing to spend that much on something that was a run of 500. I wouldn't pay that much for a traditional that's a run of 500. So to swallow paying that price for a stablemate that's a run of 500 hurt my soul a little bit. But this one came up for auction, and actually Erin Corbett, who now owns Stone Horses, was selling this girl as part of her purge that she did earlier this year, and so that is where she came from. I won the auction on her, and it was a price I was happy to pay. She is absolutely gorgeous. Her color is just phenomenal. She's got dapples. She is pearly, but not overly pearly. She's got a cute pink nose. She's got eye whites. She's got all the bells and whistles. And I wanted her so badly. I wanted one for such a long time. Definitely my top Grail addition from this year. And then in first place, you all probably know, but I forgot that you existed, is my top contender for stablemate additions this year. He is the Best Customs Contest stablemate from this year, 2024. He has a run of 8, question mark. So he is definitely the most limited horse. 8, 12? 8, 12. I will put the exact number on the screen. I cannot keep them all straight, the super limited ones. When it's like 200, 350, 500, I'm like, cool. But when it gets below 50, I'm like, I don't know. So, here he is. Either way, by and large my most limited stablemate, by not even a close margin, and he is very cute. I love him. He has tricolored eyes, excellent shading. His markings are not necessarily mapped, but they are just slightly outlined in like this gold, which is probably just the base layer of paint, but it's still gorgeous. And I love him very much. He is a spicy Cheeto man, and he's perfect. Okay, so there it is. They're my top 10 stablemates from 2024. I know I said this last year. Last year I was saying how I did not know what my 2024 top 10 stablemates was going to look like, and I understand why I said that in the moment, and I still do kind of stand by that, because realistically I could have just done a top 5, because to me the top 5 are so much more special, no offense, I love them still, than the bottom 5. They're either things that I wanted for a very long time, like Gray Lady and the Wee Trio ponies and Puget, or they're literally a best customs contest stablemate. So for me, the top 5 are just so much higher in my mind than the bottom 5. So I do kind of understand, I do kind of still stand by what I said last year, where I was like, oh, I don't know if I'm going to have a top 10 because there just aren't that many things that I want to add. And I'm going to repeat that sentiment right now. I could probably see myself pulling a top 10 stablemates from next year, but having acquired the Wee Trio, the Puget, and Lucky Gray Lady, my stablemates, ISO or grails or things that I would like to add right now only consists of best customs contest stablemates, and God only knows when/if I will be able to add any more of those. So I really don't see myself doing a top 10 minis of 2025 unless I'm kind of just pulling stuff that I suppose that I like off the shelf, which is less meaningful, I think. So maybe next year we will transition the stablemates to a top 5 instead of a top 10, because a top 10 seems a little unreasonable considering what I was able to add this year and what I'm still looking for at this time, if that makes sense. So, all of that said, let's go on to the big guys. Okay, big ones. As I was gathering them, I was thinking, so with the stablemates, I said that the top 5 were really the ones that like held the most meaning to me. I'll say the same thing about the bigs, but with my top 7. The top 7 definitely have, like, I knew immediately what my top 7 were going to be. The last 3 I still really like, enough for them to be in the top 10. But I would say the top 7 are the ones that are the most meaningful, and that I am the most excited and honored to have been able to add this year. Number 10 is Rushmore. Rushmore is a 2007 Breyer. A 2007 Breyer Fest special run. I love him. I had wanted one of him for a while. I think that this is one of the best Bayrones Breyer has ever done. I prefer his style of roaning versus some of the more modern ones that we've seen. I just think it's more realistic. He also has gorgeous dappling. His shading is gorgeous. I love Smarty Jones, especially as like something that would be more of a stock breed. Chef's kiss, 10 out of 10. I love him. And he's a great show model. He's done great. He was a little tilted. The only thing I don't love about him is how he fits into the stand. Sometimes it makes me nervous. But I love him. And I bought him from my friend Hallie, so it's nice to buy things from friends. And yes, he is very loved and cherished here I appreciate him a lot. He was like kind of a childhood grail for me because he came out so long ago. I'd been like pining after him for quite a while. So I'm happy to have him. Number 9, and as I'm doing this, I feel like I would rather have this one be in the 10th place spot and him be in the 9th place spot. So pretend I did it in that order. But this is Wimpy's Little Step. Quarter horse people. Why is everything wimpy? Why do we have to have these weird names that I know it has to do with the lineage and the breeding and the this and the that, but like, man. Coming from like a warm blood girl where it's like letters sometimes to like indicate the farm that they were bred at. Can we do that? It's just, there's so many Wimpies this and Wimpies that, and like he's a this and he's a that. And I can't keep up with them all. I can't keep up with it. It's hard. My brain has too many other things in it. Anyways, I think it's Wimpy's Little something. I think it's Wimpy's Little Step. I will stop ranting about that. It's not relevant. So here he is. He was the event model from the Spokes and Spurs event, just like Ned. I really like him. I do. I struggle with silver base sometimes, and I think that the shading on this horse is really good. I think that his dapples are really good. I like that they made Bobby Joe into a stallion to be accurate to, as a portrait model. I really like his face marking. It's very crisp. It's very reflective of the real horse, which is nice. The attention to detail on that is really nice. He's got beautiful tri-colored eyes. Like, he's a nice model. He would probably be in 10th position for me, so I'm gonna do this. Similar feelings about him that I have about Ned, that I think he's probably my least favorite of the event models that I own, but I still really like him, and I still think that he's a great model, and I'm still very happy to have him, but probably my least favorite of the event models. He's kind of just a Silver Bay dude with some dapples, and that's fine. He's nice, but he doesn't. A lot of the other event models that I have, there's like something super special about them that I really like. He's kind of just a dude, like a solid citizen, a good egg. So there he is. And then now I have adjusted my order. See, but then like ask me in a week and maybe I'd flip him again. I don't know. 7th. Glossy Harkness. So I will yap about Glossy Harkness. I don't collect Troubadour. I don't have anything against Troubadour. I probably would collect Troubadour. And maybe I will in the future. He's just not one that I felt super compelled to collect. I did like sell my original Troubadour shortly after getting him. For no particular reason. He's fine. He just like doesn't wow me. Morgans aren't my like super favorite breed. They're fine. I like them. I don't have anything against them ethically or anything. I just prefer a good sport horse or a pony, and you can't collect everything. So anyways, all of that to say, I decided when my friend Rebecca and I decided we were going to go to Breyer West together, I was like, you know what, I'm not going to pre-sell my Glossy Harkness because I want to keep him around, or at least look at him, to have as a memento of the trip. It's our first time going. It was my first time going. And it was like a big investment, a big commitment to go on a trip like that because we're in Michigan, so Colorado is quite far, much further and much bigger deal than going to Breyer Fest, which is only about a 5-hour drive straight south. So I was like, you know what, I'm gonna hold on to him and like we'll see. And now he's never leaving and I'm very attached to him. So, and normally I'm not a one-off like mold girly. I like congas. I like to collect the things that I like, and I like to have them in lots of different colors, and that just scratches my brain, right? He is the exception. He is never leaving. So Harkness, the real horse, and you might have heard me yap about this before, lives about 15 minutes in that direction, which is about 5 minutes from where my real horse lives. I could hop on my real horse and ride to go say hello to Harkness. They live like pretty much on the same road. There's like a small turn that you have to make, but like very close to being on the same road. And I didn't find out about that until after Breyer Fest 2023. So I didn't get a mat one. So when I found out that they were doing him as the glossy special run for Breyer West, with the knowledge that he lived so close, I was like, okay, if I'm not going to keep him just for sentimental purposes because of the trip, I'd like to keep him because I think it's cool that he lives so close. I also think it's cool that he has a book. He has a book. And it's like written from Hark's perspective, which is so cute. It's about the history of the Morgan breed. And it's actually authored by his owner, whose name is Mary. And his owners are fantastic. And to kind of just solidify the fact that he's never leaving, ever, I am actually hosting my first live show in September of 2025, and Hark is going to be in attendance. His people are fantastic, and I had originally reached out to them to say, hey, if I buy a copy of your book to use in our raffle, would you sign it for me? Like, could we set up a situation where I could get you to sign a copy of your book to use in a raffle for this model horse event that I'm hosting? And I kind of explained the situation. And if you're not up to speed on the live show that I'm hosting, it's kind of inspired by and rooted in the history of the area that I live in and that the show is going to be hosted in, and all of the equestrian roots that we have here, and the heritage and the history of all the fox hunting groups, and all the history that came from that, and the development of a lot of the farms out here, and blah, blah, blah. It's a whole thing. You can look it up on Facebook. I've actually written several posts talking about the history and nerding out about all of it, but you guys are all horse nerds, so I figured you would enjoy that. Anyways, I had reached out to Hark's people to see if they could sign a copy of his book to use in the raffle, and they were like, I'll do you one better. And they offered to bring him as well. And I said, oh, please? I was so excited. I called my husband that day, and I was like, guess what? He was like, what? Are you okay? And I told him, and he was like, that's really cool. I don't totally know what all of that means, but like, excellent. I'm excited that you're excited. So anyways, he is never going anywhere. There's more sentimental value to me in this horse now than probably in the portrait horse that I had done of my own horse. Like, he's just a special boy. He's also a fantastic show model, and he's very cute, so he is excellent, and he is very loved. His name is CWS Metamora, which is the city that Harkness lives in. That's like 15 minutes that way, so everything means something. Okay, 7th. This is Glossy Mr. Chips. Glossy Mr. Chips was an impulse purchase. I stand by some of the best purchases are impulse purchases. I bought him in June, I want to say, which was like, no, we are saving for Breyer Fest. Like, we have a budget that we have to meet before Breyer Fest happens. And he's not a cheap horse. He's only a run of 90, so he was an investment that I should not have made the month leading up to Breyer Fest. But he comes for sale so infrequently that I decided to do it anyways. He was one of the only ones that I still needed for my newsworthy conga. Spoiler alert, I only need 2 now. I only need 2. At the beginning of this year, I needed 4. And now I only need 2. He was one of that 4. So I'm very excited to have him. His Matt brother is sitting right up there on the shelf. And they look very cute together. He was, I guess I haven't talked about the run. He was a Vintage Club run. They did the bulk of the run in matte, but they did, was either 90 or 92 in gloss that were shipped at random to Vintage Club members when they purchased him. And so he's a pretty limited little guy, run of only about 90 or 92. And I love Newsworthy. Normally, I don't go for the vintage colorways on a more modern mold. I prefer the opposite. I like the realistic colors on more vintage molds. I love realistic colors. As you've heard me talk about several times in this video, I just prefer, personally, to collect models with more realistic colors, so that's why I don't collect anything vintage. Not my cup of tea. Don't collect decos. Not my cup of tea. Do I have a few decos that I really like? Yes. Do I have a couple vintage things for sentimental reasons that I really like? Yes. Is that the bulk of my collection? No, never will be. Here is one of those exceptions. Mr. Chips. Matte and gloss, but gloss is making this video for sure. Okay. Number 6 is actually my first purchase of 2024. So you would have seen this guy in the collection tour. This is Sand Dollar. Sand Dollar is a connoisseur, run of 350, and he is an extremely hard to find connoisseur. There are a couple connoisseurs that are just more desirable, more popular, I guess, than a lot of the others. He's one of the ones that's just super hard to find, and when he does come up for sale, it's like insane prices for a run of 350. And I got him in a private sale situation. Somebody responded to an ISO ad that I had put out like in 2023 actually, and offered him to me for what I thought was a super reasonable price, and he was probably my best deal of 2024, all things considered. So I snatched him up for that price almost immediately, and he was my first acquisition of this year. He came in like January 3rd, I think, which ironically, I'm going to have a really exciting edition coming on probably the same day this year. So we start off the new year strong with a cool pony. So I'm very excited to have him. If I didn't have so many other cool ponies to talk about, he definitely would have been higher, because I am really excited to have him. He's got one of my favorite colors, coat colors. Stop, you're stressing me out. He's got one of my favorite coat colors, like out of any model horse ever. I think he's gorgeous. Him and El Capitan probably have two of my favorite OF coat colors of all time. He's just so pretty. I love him. Okay, I think we're safe. The next 5 make me very nervous, so I wanted to make sure I had a good situation, good setup going here before I got them out. Now, some of these guys, if you watched the Breyer Fest haul, you've seen them. Apologies. Number 5 is Glossy Zorabelle, so I won't go into too much detail about her, but she is a glossy prize model from this year's Breyer Fest. I won her in the Stablemates Collectors class, which was one of my hobby highlights for the year for sure. She's so cute. I love this mold, and this color is really, really nice and gloss. I am super happy to have her. She's my first glossy prize model, and I won her, so she's like extra special. I'm not a huge glossy prize model person by way of purchases. I feel like if I'm going to spend the amount of money that a glossy prize model will typically go for, I'd rather have an event model, because a lot of times the event models have a more unique color or a more unique pattern or better shading or dapples. Just the color tends to be more detailed or intricate versus having a glossy copy of something that I already own. I love her. I love that I won her. She's not going anywhere. But those are kind of my thoughts on glossy prize models. I'd rather buy an event model if I am purchasing. But I love this little girl, and she makes me very happy. Okay, next, you've also already seen this girl, but my fourth is Glossy Athenian Lady. I did not win her. However, I did win a Glossy Full Moon Rising at the open show, and I traded my Glossy Full Moon Rising for this. I did really want this girl. I know I just talked about how I'd rather not spend money on a glossy, expensive thing. I love Dundee, and I love this model, and I love the real horse that this is based on, so I did really, really want a glossy version. So I'm very happy that I was able to get one through something that I also won, even if I did not win this specific model. Okay, next we have Mr. Cloverleaf. You guys have also already seen him at this point. He was a Breyerfest pickup. He's a run of 8, which I believe makes him the most limited horse in my collection. So here's Mr. Cloverleaf. I don't know if I said this or not. He's a Breyerfest Open Show overall grand prize model from 2018. So, diorama contest model from this year, Open Show sectional prize model from this year, Open Show overall grand prize model from 2018. There we go. Next, you guys haven't seen this one on YouTube yet. She just debuted on Instagram. So, this is the lovely Bonaire. Bonaire was a raffle model from 2021. I love her so much. I got her from my incredible friend Crystal, and she is absolutely stunning. She is a run of 25 raffle horses plus an additional that was in the live auction, so 26 technically. I love her so much. I don't really know what else to say about her in this moment other than that she is absolutely stunning. Not many of these things really see the light of day because Breyerfest 2021 was virtual. I had never seen one in person before I literally unboxed her a couple of days ago. So she is very special, and I'm thrilled to have added her. And taking my number 1 spot for this year is that second newsworthy that I was talking about, and that is Mr. Toulouse. Toulouse was also a raffle model. He was a raffle model from Breyerfest 2008, question mark? I think, pretty sure it was 2008. So the same year as Rushmore. Breyer, let's bring back the 2008 colors because, are you serious? He is gorgeous. He's like this sooty buckskin / really sun-bleached bay blanket Appaloosa. He is stunning. This color is so phenomenal. I just love him. And he's got a mapped stripe on his little nose, or his face. He's very cute. Hello, cat. I'm obsessed with him. I had wanted him for so long. Did not think I would be adding him this year, or Bonaire, honestly. I didn't think I'd be adding either one of them this year. We had an excellent year. It was a really good year for collecting and other things. Definitely did not think he'd be for sale this year, or that I would get him this year. I had hoped that someday I would add one, but I definitely didn't think it would be the year of our God, 2024. But here he is in my collection, and I'm so excited. The only newsworthies I don't have at this time, realistic, are Jump for Joy, who is probably my top grail at the moment. The only newsworthy that I think that I could ever like more than this one. And then I'd love to have a Glossy Baloo, although he is significantly lower on my want list. But I would love to add a Jump for Joy at some point. Although, for now, I will be perfectly happy to sit with my Toulouse in the horse corner and drool over him because I love him so much. He is so good. Okay, so kind of going to talk about top I don't want to say top, that's not correct. I want to talk about just some like hobby highlights of the year outside of the acquisitions. Obviously, I'm thrilled with the things that are on this table right now, but there were also so many cool things that happened, and events and moments and all of that goodness that I also want to talk about. So I'm going to try to think in like chronological order. I typically try to go to one live show a month. There aren't any in January, so January I just kind of hunkered down and worked on projects, which was great. I got a lot done, planning on doing the same thing this January, which is probably when this video is going to come out. So editing is one of those things. February I went to Sleigh Rally in Wisconsin with some friends. That was super fun. Got to see a lot of familiar faces and some gorgeous models. Sleigh Rally always has insane competition. I took overall reserve of the mini division and got to spend some time with some awesome friends. Lots of Michigan people wound up going to Sleigh Rally, which is crazy. We're crazy because it's like an 8-hour drive in potential like snowy conditions, but we do it anyways. Super fun show. So that was fun. March was for Breyer West. Like I mentioned before, my friend Rebecca and I went to Breyer West together. It was so much fun. Getting there was very stressful because it was like doing Midwestern snowstorm things, and it was also doing Denver, Colorado snowstorm things, and we wound up leaving a day early, so getting there was stressful. The event was fantastic. We had so much fun. There was like a big Region 8 presence there, which was kind of unexpected and awesome. So we had lots of friends already there. Then we met up with other friends that are not from our side of the country at all, which was also super fun. I took overall grand in the open show for the Breyer mini division, which was so exciting. My goal for showing this year was to win one Breyer rosette, because I hadn't up until this point. And I had such a good year. I'm very thankful. I wound up winning 8 Breyer rosettes this year. 4 were for collector's classes, and 4 were for actual halter divisions at shows. 1 overall, 3 sectionals, and then the 4 were for collector's classes. 4 other ones were for collector's classes. But 3 of those came from the open show at Breyer West, which was so much fun. And the event is just so cool. It was so much more calm. Feels like the right word. Not as stressful, not as chaotic, more like meaningful and educational, and intentional is the wrong word, but I enjoyed it so much. I don't want to say more than Breyer Fest, because it does seem too much like apples and oranges to compare the two, but I loved it enough to where I really wanted to try to go back in 2025 if I could, and we are. I am stealing husband Sam, and we are going to Kansas for Breyer Midwest in March this year. So if you can ever go, I 1000% recommend it. It is so cool. 10 out of 10 recommend. April was the live showing month of insanity. I did 3 live shows in April. I did BVG Live, Island Time Live, and Indie Blooms Live. BVG is our resident Michigan open show, as some of us jokingly call it, because it is insane. It is huge. I think she had over 100 entrants this year. Don't quote me on that, but it was huge. I took overall reserve of the mini division at that show, which was an honor, and I also showed in the regular run division because the divisions of that show are actually structured just like they are at the BreyerFest Open show, and I loved that. It was so fun and such a unique showing experience to only show my regular runs. So that was really cool, and I actually might do the same thing this year. I haven't totally decided, but I had such a good time doing it last year. And my friend Laura actually came to stay with me that weekend, and so I got to show her around and show her some of our local fun horsey attractions in the area, and that weekend was just a blast. So that was an awesome hobby moment. The other 2 shows that month were also super fun. I was overall grand and traditional halter at one and in mini in the other. I love Indie Blooms. Indie Blooms has a great swap meet. There were so many friends. We had such a big fun group at Indie Blooms. It was awesome. And then Island Time, this was its first year, I think, and it was a really fun show. I don't know what April is going to look like. There's so many live shows in April. But if I could go back to all three, I definitely would. They were all super fun. Had a great time with all of the friends that I ran into at all those shows. There's a cat under the table. I am actively scratching her ears. What are you doing? May, I only went to one live show, I think. May of this upcoming year, I'm definitely hoping to go to Stonehorse Country Fair. That looked like so much fun. And it's really not that far of a drive, which is crazy. June, I got to go to Lake Erie Live, which is very drivable from where I live, and I got to judge the OF Mini division, which normally I'm showing that division. So I very rarely judge Breyer. Typically the only time I judge Breyer is in a photo show, in my own photo shows, because I'm always showing OF Breyer. So normally at live shows I wind up judging customs, resins, stuff like that, because I don't show those, so I can wear two hats. I can show my Breyers and judge the customs or the resins. But that was a really fun experience, and I also wound up taking overall grand of the traditional Breyer halter division, which was fun, and the horse that won that overall actually went on to be, I believe, reserve grand champion at Nan, so well pinned. And I went with my friend Anna to that show specifically, and she had some really fun performance setups, performance entries that were a big hit for everybody. So that was really fun to see her do performance, to get to judge, and then to do so well in the traditional division. So that was a great show. July was for Breyerfest. I'm not gonna go down that road because my Breyerfest experience is 45 minutes long. I will just say that Nan was fantastic. I had such a fun time showing at Nan, spending time, especially with my friend Zoe, who helped me at Nan. The showing itself was phenomenal. I had, I believe, just about 20 national champs and reserves and over 75 top 10s. Don't worry, I donated over half of the ribbons back. I did not keep them. I kept about half. There are some that sit here. So the showing was excellent. It was so cool to see so many things. I volunteered and was a ring steward on Tuesday, which was great, and then I showed again on Wednesday. Friday was the open show. You guys know how that went. It was super fun. It was super great. And overall, the whole experience was a fantastic way to spend a week in the hobby. I got to see so many friends. I was a lot better about taking selfies with my friends this year, which I was very proud of. And I can't wait for next year. I'm already scheming. Didn't do anything in the hobby in August, was dealing with lots of very heavy personal things in August. September was my first outing. Okay, apologies if this clip looks a little bit different. I had a little bit of a camera mishap. We're on to September, I believe. So September was my first outing after Breyerfest. I went to the Happy Camper Classic in Indiana, and I took my mom, who has a quota of one model horse event per year. God bless her. And she came with me to that, and it was super fun. We stayed with friends and got to see lots of friends at the show. It is a long drive. It was a long, almost 8-hour drive one way for the show, but it was a really good show. My mom actually won. You can see her. That is Tracy Ann, who is a Stone Country Fair horse, I believe, from this year. My mom won her in the raffle, which was insane. And she is, besides the portrait model that I have of my personal horse, that is the only Stone in my collection. And I tried to get my mom to keep her because she won her, and she was like, no, I don't want a plastic horse in my house. That's your thing. Like, you keep her. So she lives with me now. She is NAN qualified, so she can go to NAN if she wants to. But that was a really special moment. And I wound up with three out of the 4 overall mini titles in that show, which was super cool. The judging at that show is just like outstanding, and the feedback and just the kindness and everything from the judges and from the staff, 10 out of 10. I voted for you guys to be member show of the year, so I hope that happens, because you guys deserve it. It is such a good, constructive, fun environment to show in. October is also a really busy month in the hobby. Hobbyists seem to love Halloween and October. I know I do. I had 2 shows in Halloween, and then I hosted a little party for local hobbyists to come over, and we painted spooky stablemates and we ate Halloween themed snacks, and it was a blast. I did judge at one of those shows in October. Didn't judge at the second one, but I did judge at the first one. Wound up with an overall for the minis in the first one. The first show was all minis, so there was no traditional division. I judged the customs and showed my Breyers, took an overall in the mini division, and had so much fun judging all of the tiny resins. Although, Anna, you made my eyeballs hurt. I will just say that. My eyeballs hurt for like 2 days afterwards. Charm scale. Do you know how small? Like the size of my fingernail. It was insane. I don't know how you don't just like vacuum them up on accident when you're cleaning. It was crazy. And then I wound up with overall reserve in the minis at the second October show that I did, which was super fun. There were so many friends at that show, which was awesome. Yeah, that one, yeah. November took me across the Canadian border to go visit Zoe, my lovely Canadian friend. A few of our Michigan friends wound up at that show as well, and that was super fun. We spent a whole weekend. We got to visit our friend Emily's farm and meet her curly horses, which was so cool. We had good food. The hotel was gorgeous. We had fun at the show. And Mr. Toulouse was overall reserve collectability champion. And then in December, I got cracking on all things year-end championships for my photo show series. And I took a weekend to travel to Great Lakes Congress in Illinois. I stayed with my friend Laura and got to see so many friends at that show too. Oh my goodness, what a group. And that show was super fun, and my El Capitan took overall reserve of traditional halter in that show, and spent a super fun weekend with friends and with Laura. We got to go to her riding lesson to hang out with some ponies, and we went antiquing? Yes, which was so cool. We found so many Breyers, which was insane. Well worth the drive, even though I hate driving through Chicago. It is the worst. I will do it twice a year. I will do it once for Laura, and I will do it for Sleigh Rally. That is it. Hard stop. And that puts us to where we are at now, going into 2025. Like I said, I kind of have talked about all of the plans that I have set in stone for 2025 at this point. As far as my business goes, I will be doing a 2025 monthly photo show series, just as I have the past 3 years. I'm very excited for that. I've already started scheming for themes and colors. We made some changes to the class list and the breed list and rules and whatnot going into 2025, just based on stats and data and feedback from 2024. So going into that, confident that we've got the best possible setup for 2025 that we could have. I'm excited for it. And then I briefly mentioned the live show that I am hosting September of 2025. Very excited for that as well. Kind of the big events, I guess, are Breyer Midwest in Kansas, which I am stealing Sam and going to. And then I plan to be in Kentucky again. And as far as the live shows, we will see. I don't know exactly what my plans are yet. I know I do plan on going to Sleigh Rally in February, and we will see what else fits into the schedule and where life takes us. There are a lot of moving parts behind the scenes right now with real life. So I don't know what this upcoming year is going to hold. There are a lot of possibilities and things that could happen if things go one way, and could not happen if things go other ways. So everything that is set in stone we have talked about, and I look forward to filling in the gaps as we go. Okay, so that is it. That is all I have for you. This table makes me incredibly nervous, but here they are. This is my top 10 traditionals and minis of 2024. It was an absolutely excellent year for the collection and for hobby things, and for it was a great year for the collection and for hobby things, hobby events, hobby activities, hobby friendships, hobby community. It was great. It was a great year in that area. So that is all I have for this video. I'm going to very carefully put these away now. Oh my goodness, there's a cat under the table. Lucy, you are going to give me an aneurysm. You are going to give me an aneurysm. Go somewhere else, please. Thank you. I'm going to put them away now. And yeah, I do anticipate probably in the future this will be a top 5 in each scale. Although time will tell. I said the same thing last year about the minis, and I was able to pull a top 10 this year. So we'll see. I've gotten to a point with my collection where I have a lot of the more easily obtainable pieces that I'm interested in obtaining, and I am kind of therefore obtaining things that are harder to obtain, and there are less of those to go around. So naturally that would mean less total models per year, which is great. I need less total models per year. We need to conserve the space a little bit here. The horse porn is great, but it is not infinite. So anyways, I'm gonna put them away now. Thank you so much for watching. Stay tuned for 2025. I have so many things going on. My primary platform is Instagram, so check that out. If you want information on the live show that I'm hosting, either Instagram or Facebook, or the Instagram will link you to Facebook, either way. Happy holidays, Merry Christmas Eve as of night of recording, and I will see you guys in 2025 if it is not already 2025. Happy New Year. See you in the next one.